Hello all, this is Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York, where the weather was very nice. Got a little sprinkles here and there, but no big deal. We got some sun in between and some clouds. But, it's the kind of day where I'll take it. Whereas the market didn't like today, did not like Friday close, did not like the way things looked at the end of the day, kind of ruined the entire week. In particular, I didn't like the way Apple closed. I didn't like the way CVM closed. Ooh, they hurt. And the charts for some of these stocks are just awful, like Apple. But another technology stock, on the other hand, AMD, still looks very bullish to me. So we'll look at the charts of Apple and AMD to get the contrast. We're going to look at the averages, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the SPX, the IWM, the Qs for the NASDAQ 100. We'll look at two biotechs, CVM, which took it on the chin the last couple of days, almost gave Dr. J a knockout punch. Ooh, it hurt. But, despite that, I'm buying more, and I'll talk about why. It has more to do with the fundamentals in the chart, but also the chart. And what else? athx made my week. It had a tremendous pop. I mean, I think I said the other day on April 18th, it was $1.35. Well, I think on Thursday it closed at 203, if I'm not mistaken. I think it closed 7 pennies less today, or something like that. We're going to look at the chart of athx as well. I believe it's back into its old trading range. Okay, it did what I thought it would do today. That is pull back to support at around 185, and then it came back up to $2. I'll talk more about it when we pull up the chart. Hopefully, I don't lose the camera this time. I was talking, everything was going well. I was in the charts, and suddenly it was just my voice, no picture. So I turned the vlog into a podcast on, when was it? Wednesday, I guess it was. That's not too good. Yesterday I couldn't broadcast, so hopefully I'll be able to tonight and also maybe tomorrow night. Not sure about tomorrow night, but I'll try. I have a lot to say about a lot of different stocks, so try to come back to you again tomorrow. Meanwhile, do your own due diligence. My opinions are strictly my own and do not constitute investment advice. Remember that. Does not constitute investment advice. Do your own due diligence, in other words, like I said before. And consult with an investment advisor if you want to follow Dr. J. Dr. J occasionally has some great ideas, but occasionally has some clunkers. Your job is to differentiate the great ideas from the clunkers. And if you are able to do that, please let me know so I can better differentiate. Because basically everything I like, and I don't differentiate. Okay, so let's try to get to the video chart. Please give me a thumbs up. And you didn't go deaf, I said thumbs up. And tell everyone how much you like me, share the link, subscribe if you haven't already. I think most of you have. But if you haven't, please subscribe and hit the little subscribe button that's below the right side of your screen, I think, below the video. Okay, anyway, let's get to the charts. Hopefully we do this faster than you can say Jackie Robinson or Maury Wills or, I don't even know who the steel leaders are today. Not following baseball like I used to when I was younger, especially when I was a kid. All right, so now we should be in share screen mode. Left to right today? Why not? It is a weekly discussion, so we're going to look at the weekly chart as well as the daily. Most of the weekly charts look better than the daily charts on practically every case, except for one or two. So let's start with S&P 500. I hope you can still see the screen. Okay, so full screen. I wish there was some way of my knowing if you're not. And some of you did chat it to me, but I can't see the chats when I'm in this share screen mode. So it's not very helpful, but I'm going to go on my phone and make sure it's coming through. I think I might be able to do that. I think. So let me see if I can do that. Meanwhile, we're looking at the chart of the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. I'm trying to do two things at the same time, talk to you and see if the video is coming through on my phone. Let's see, there's 10 watching, which is hopeful. I can see your comments now. So Greg, nice weather, went to the park. Yeah, I went to the beach. I know it wasn't beach day, but I did go to the beach. What happened to Voyager today? I don't know. I didn't follow it. I think it was down, but I didn't chart it, Chris. Greg, you sold Outlook for a profit. Profits are always good, Greg. Yeah, what else? JD from Dallas. How you doing? Evening to you. Greg is being cordial, saying hi, JD. Greg shared the link. And JD says, looking good, Dr. J. Looking good, JD. But the pot stocks are taking it on the chin a little bit, JD. All right, so you can keep those chats coming in. I'll try to respond a little bit, which is something I've never done before, because it detracts from my concentration as to the chart. But nevertheless, it's not a bad thing. Godfather Frazier, how you doing? TRVN, we'll get to that another time. I don't have time tonight. I have eight charts to look at. S&P 500. Okay. So why do I think the chart is so terrible? Well, it's not that bad if you look at the weekly, because we turned our last low on the weekly was all the way in March 4th. It was a low of 27.22. We're not anywhere near taking that low out. So as far as the weekly goes, it's just a correction. And we're still in the bull, very much in the bull. Let's consider the weekly intermediate term. We'll consider the monthly long term, and we'll consider the daily short term. So intermediate term, we're in a bull market. Now let's take a look at the daily. This is fun, looking at it from different perspectives. All right, the daily. At least it's fun for me. So the daily, we have a low, a high, a lower low, and another, well, actually the next low is down here, which is lower. And the next high is up here. But this high, unfortunately, does not take out the previous high. So we have a lower high. The previous high is 28.91. What was the high on Thursday? Oh, it was high at 28.92. Is that right? So we have a higher high. That's a good sign, by the way. 28.92. This high was 28.91. Correct. So I'm liking the chart a little better. So while we have a lower low, we have a higher high. Not so bad. So yeah, I told you the S&P doesn't look terrible. Looks hopeful. The Dow, let's check the Dow. I'm getting all kinds of mixed signals depending on which chart I'm looking at lately. It's a little confusing, but so far so good. The S&P passes my litmus test. Okay, the Dow down 98.38%. Not too good. First, let's look at the weekly. I know, all right, well, let's look at the daily. We have a series of lower highs and lower lows, lower lows. And now this high, unlike the S&P, that's what confused me, is not higher than the previous high. So the S&P broke the pattern of lower highs and lower lows. The Dow continued that pattern. So it's a little less optimistic in the short term. Let's take a look at the weekly. I think the weekly is going to be like the S&P. That was still in a bull market, I believe. Well, we're still hovering above the 50. The 50 is above the 100. The 100's above the 200. Nice. We like that. If this becomes a low, it will not be a lower low than the last low, which was let's see, this is a high or low. This would be the low. 25,372. This low is lower. So we have a potentially lower low, it looks like, than we made on the week ending 325. So there is a case to be made for saying that we're getting to be short-term bearish on the, intermediate-term bearish on the Dow. And I think we already determined that we were short-term bearish, I think. Yeah, we did. So the Dow does not look nearly as hardy as the S&P. Told you we get mixed signals, but where would it be going? Where would it stop if it is going to sell off more? I always like these moving averages for a stop, for support. That would put us at about 24,550 maybe. That's a big drop. Ooh, that would be a yucky poo. Hope not. Besides hope not, I don't think it will get that far. I think the weekly will, even if it puts in a low, it will put in a low here if we have a higher, better week next week. But I think we may make, in fact, another lower high, but maybe it won't make that fourth lower low. So I'm not convinced that we're in for big trouble yet. All right, the Qs. I think although I'm charting it and trying to not care about what's going on does seem to be important to me with the trade wars and the talks with China and Japan and so on. Is there going to be tariffs on cars? Apparently not for 6 months. I don't know what's going to happen in the 6 months. Should be interesting. Anyway, I don't like escalating tariffs, escalating trade wars. Not good for the market. Kramer says President Trump no longer cares if trade wars are good for the market or bad for the market, or if he crashes the market. I don't know how Kramer knows this, but Kramer is not a stupid man. And if he says something, I don't immediately dismiss it. I know he has a lot of people who poo-poo all his remarks, but he is, as he likes to remind us, a former Goldman Sachs guru, Harvard graduate. He is not a moron, Kramer. He's a pretty bright guy, and I think he had that show with our chief economic advisor, Larry Kudlow. So he might be a little bit more in tune with what's going on than you and I are. All right, anyway, we have a top here on the Qs, and this is a weekly, and we have a low that did what it's supposed to do on this week, bounced off support. So that's good, and it did not take out the previous low of 324, 325. So that's good too. So it's still looking bullish. We get a nice green candle this week. It'll make Dr. J feel a lot better about the correction being over. So far, the Qs and the S&P look very good. The Dow a little shaky. Let's take a look. Did we look at the daily on this? I don't think so. Let's take a quick look at the daily. The daily. Jefferson Lampkins, good evening to you. Okay. Where are we now? Dow closed, Qs closed down 1%. Not as bad as the worst index, which is we haven't looked at yet, the IWM, which was down 1.33%. So you saw that the Dow and S&P were down less. So the best performing, recently best performing indices were the worst performing today. This is a particularly ugly candle. It's basically a gravestone doji with a long upper wick. And we don't like that because it shows a lot of weakness. It shows that the bears took over control and brought this thing down on Friday, today. And it brought it down below yesterday's low. And the only good thing I can say is we now have Thursday is now a nice high. And it's, I think, a higher high than the May 10th high. Let's check that. May 10th, 185.89. Thursday's high, 186.07, correct. So we have a higher high, and that's a very good sign. So it broke the pattern of lower highs and lower lows that took us right through 513. We finally broke it on Thursday, 516. So that's good, but I don't like the fact that we closed below the 50. That's bad. So there's a little good and a little bad in the Qs, but on balance, I would say more good than bad. Kind of like the chart of the S&P to Qs. Questionable on the Dow, and I'm not too sure I'm going to like what I see on the IWM. We'll take a look. Greg, you want me to replace Kramer? No, I can't go booger, whatever he says. I don't know how to do that. There's only one Kramer that can carry on like a maniac on that show of his. Dr. J is much too reserved for that kind of television. I don't have those kinds of antics. My antics is limited to, this is Dr. J streaming live from Long Island, New York. That's about as crazy as I get. All right, anyway, well, sometimes I can throw in a story or two that's a little weird too. Anyway, May 16th was, that was Thursday. What did we say about that? We said that on the Qs made a higher high than the previous high, but on the IWM made a lower high. You see, on May 10th, we had a high of 156.83, but on Thursday, the high was only 156.18. So it did not take out the old high, unfortunately. So the pattern still persists of lower highs and lower lows, and don't like that. It also closed below the 50, don't like that. But I do like the fact that it's just above support at the 100. And the 100 has proven to be nice support before. Look at 325. So even if it comes down to the 100, which is trading at, I don't know what, 151, so like a point and a half, something like that. Is that right? I can't see the green. Yeah, 151.45, I think, right? So we're sitting just above the 100. So basically, we're respecting that 100-day moving average as support. Something that we can feel good about, I guess. So the IWM and the Dow are questionable in terms of are we in a bull or bear market? And the S&P and the Qs look much better. So your call. I'm going to go with we're not in a bear market. We're not in a short-term bear. We're not in a long-term bear. We're not in an intermediate-term bear. No bear. No bear for Dr. J. Dr. J is a bull. Okay, how's that for my Kramer? CVM. I have fans in twits. Okay, so is that good enough to take over for Kramer? I'll tell CNBC I have fans in twits. Greg says I throw Kramer out, put Dr. J right in. Okay, maybe I'll hire you as my agent, Greg. I'll give you the 15%, whatever it is. Get me on to CNBC with my own show? Definitely. You're in, Greg. You swing that, you're in. Name your own price. All right, sell side, right? Where are we with sell side? Scroll up. I took a beating on sell side, and I have a lot of shares. But I'm not going to cry because big boys don't cry. No, that's not the right song. Big girls don't cry. Oh, I'm not a girl. I won't cry anyway. Buckhead Creek, I don't want you crying either. We all knew that it's risky, these biotechs, right, Buckhead? Greg, my picture is still on? You still see my wonderful graphs, right? It didn't go fluey like the other day, did it? All right. Okay, so we closed right at what looks like support. It's the 50-day moving average. Actually, we bounced off of support, which is good. So maybe we found the bottom right there. I think we're very close to the bottom. Dr. J bought more today. I paid a little too much. I paid 566, 54, I don't remember. I tweeted it out when I bought it. I added to my position. I will, perhaps foolishly, add more to my position, even if it goes to 4, to this area of support at about 496. I'll add as it drops. I'm not afraid, probably foolishly so, but I believe that what brought it down was a hit piece from SA that didn't make too much sense to me. And I'm going to go along with my common sense and say that the traders will realize there was nothing new in that SA article, It was just a lot of BS to bring the price down. So it shook out weak hands. It did do that. But I love it for a swing trade back up to the middle of this candle or the low of this candle, which would be 663. I would say 650 would be a very attainable number for a swing trade. So I'm looking to buy it on Monday just to swing for a point. And what I don't know, the thing is, if it goes down, I hate to relinquish the shares because I just think at some point the value again will be realized in this particular biotechnology company that's awaiting data. And I think it's going to have another run. So I don't know if I should really truly call it a swing trade, but I'm going to buy some shares for the purpose of making a buck. If I don't make the buck so fast, I'm going to keep those shares, at least for a long time, at least for a while. So I don't have a stop loss. I only have a take profit on this particular trade. So technically, that's really not a swing trade. athx. In my mind, you can't be swinging unless you're willing to set a target on the top and the bottom. So you have your take profit and your stop loss. athx, wonderful week. Let's take a look. Closed at $1.97, down 6 pennies. I thought it was down 7 pennies. I'm not I'm happy. I'm a penny higher than I thought. Loud and clear, JD says, from Dallas, Texas. Hey, JD, how's the oil business? Are you wheeling and dealing in oil? Like JD? What was his name? Not JR. Not JD. JR. JR Ewing, right? Okay, athx. That was one of my favorite shows. I thought what's his name? Leo Hagman? Hagler? I don't remember his name. He was tremendous in that show. And they all were. All the supporting cast. I think it was Leo Hagman, right? All right, anyway. Like I said, who shot JR? That was terrific cliffhanger. What's the cliffhanger here? There is no cliffhanger. It's just all good. Look at this, man. 3 gigantic green candles. We finally gave back a little, but we bounced way off the lows of the day to come back strong and only give up 3 points. I had a strong feeling, and I tweeted this out, that it would retest 185 or very close to that. Well, the low of the day was 187. I'd say that's very close to that. So I was slow to pull the trigger. I wanted to add more. I have a ton, but I was going to add more. And I actually was with my wife, and she didn't like the idea of my getting on the telephone and making that trade. So she cost me money. The woman cost me money. JD, is that unusual? Larry Hagman, thank you, JD. All right, anyway, the chart is beautiful. And now we're back in the old trading range. Let's make this smaller. I'll show you what I mean. Between 185 and 215. Here's the 215 level. We have a lot of hits and slightly above it. Here's the 185 level. See how many hits we have there. So it's tremendous support at 185, tremendous resistance at 215. But it's for about 9 months, it was a wonderful swing trade. like you couldn't lose money swinging this thing. And that went on for about 9, 10 months until it went below for a long time. Finally got back into this trading range. I think it stays in this trading range until it goes north and clears this high of 223. So a close above 223, and it's gone. A home run for athx over this left field fence, as John Sterling would say. It is a pop-up. The left field is getting under it. No, it's gone. It's gone. All right, anyway, enough John Sterling humor. He's the announcer for the Yankees who never gets the pop-ups, distinguishes the pop-ups from the fly balls, from the home runs. It's got a little problem that way. And working the radio is really interesting when he's on the radio and he gives you that call. All right, anyway. So I'm very bullish athx. I like it any which way you want to play it, swing trade it, hold it. The fundamentals are tremendous on athx. They're into fast track on ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. They are in phase 3 in Japan on ischemic stroke. And the data readout on that trial should be over by the end of the year. Data readout should be sometime around this time of year, sometime maybe in May of 2020. All right, Apple. And I think with just like CVM, it'll at some point it'll catch fire and keep running until near the data readout. And CVM should do the same. It should catch fire again and go up until the trial is ended. All right, Apple. I could say more about CVM in terms of the reasons I have for poo-pooing the essay article, but I tweeted it out under JerChess, at JerChess. It's on StockTwits. So if you want to see my in-depth reply, you can go get it there. Apple, I don't like the chart. I don't love it anyway. In fact, I don't like it at all. It's kind of bearish. It's a bearish apple. It's a bad apple. It's but one bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, baby. That's an oldie. And hopefully that's true because I think Apple is bad. I mean, I just don't like this chart. It looks like a yucky poo. It broke the 50. It's been trading below the 50. It made a lower high. It made a lower low here, lower high here. I don't like this chart. I don't like it short term. I mean, look at that catapult straight down. I don't like it. The weekly is not any better. The weekly on Apple, this is going to be a low if we're lucky, because maybe we get an up week next week. That doesn't make it lower low. If so, this low will become the new low. This low is 182.85, which is lower than the previous low on 325 of 184.58. So even if this low holds and we don't get a lower low next week, we're now into making lower lows, the beginning of a real yucky looking Apple chart, even on the weekly. We get a lower low, and then we might get a high lower than this one. And before you know it, we have a sequence of lower highs, lower lows that could take us all the way down. How far down? I don't know how far down. It could go pretty far down, maybe around here. Ooh, that would hurt. 168, I don't even want to think about it, because if it goes down to 168, I think that has really bad implications for the rest of the market. I better look at the next chart. The next chart's much better, AMD. One for the birds, apples for the birds. Birds can eat the apple. I love the Apple products, but come on, the chart just doesn't look good. But AMD looks good. Unlike Apple, it made a new high today, a higher high from the previous high on May 10th. Nice. It nudged above resistance, but closed below it, right in the middle of its trading range. Not terrible. I'm pretty impressed with the overall look of it, because here's a low, here's a high, here's a lower low, but then we get a higher high, which is very nice. Now next we should get a low that's higher than this low, in which case I will officially pronounce this in a bear market. You can pronounce it already in a bear market if you like. AMD is a very, very strong tech stock. And I think even if the market turns sour, it's going to be like pulling teeth to get this one to go down significantly. It looks very good. Let's see how the weekly looks. The weekly is holding up. It's okay, the weekly. I mean, it came out of its strong ascending channel, and it did make a lower low this week than last week, I believe, but it's holding, let's see, is it holding to, I don't think we're getting a pattern of lower lows and lower highs. This is a lower high. This is a lower low than this one. Yeah. The weekly, the weekly doesn't look that great, actually, because here we have a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low. So, yeah, this you can argue that we're in a little bit of a bear market intermediate term. Yet, short term, I think we're in a bull market. So, bear market intermediate term, short term bullish. Very peculiar, but that's how I see it. Maybe I need to change my glasses. I don't know. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point and take a look at the camera. Make sure it's still there. Camera, are you there? Uh-oh. I see blue. I don't see me. I'm going to make a funny face, and let's see if it catches me. No. I can't dare the camera back. All right, so I'm going to just bid you all adieu. Oh, there we go. Funny face. This has been Dr. J. It's been live from Long Island, New York. I wish you all the best. Trading coming up next week. Let's all make money. I want to say shalom, sayonara, au revoir, arrivederci, ciao. Hasta mañana. Good night, all. Good night, JD. Good night, Greg. Good night, everybody.